Now, I'm not going to say that they're the reason, but it does seem suspicious that every time a company works with with these people, something happens. So, reeling Sweet Baby Inc. partner Heart Machine begs for survival on Patreon. Why does it seem that every company that works with Sweet Baby Inc. ends up screwed over one way or another between having to beg on Patreon or, their games failing and them having to fire like 100 people or going out of business? Why is it that every time someone works with Sweet Baby Inc., something happens? Maybe people should stop working with Sweet Baby Inc. They clearly don't have the interest of your company at heart. They just exist to force diversity, equity, inclusion into literally everything. Every game, diversity, equity, inclusion. But nah, no. So, Heart Machine's lack of Patreon pulse. I mentioned Heart Machine a few weeks back because their studios was on the verge of falling apart after mass layoffs. And oh boy, it hasn't gotten any better. It hasn't gotten better at all. At all. Known for titles like Hyper Light Drifter and Solar Ash. From what I hear, Hyper Light Drifter is actually a pretty good game. So, their recent move to launch a Patreon has left many fans feeling betrayed. And the reasons are pretty obvious as to why. While their struggles are real and their passion for game development is clearly undeniable. Yeah, like I said, I think I've talked about them before, and people brought up Hyper Light Drifter, and they're like, it's actually a really, really good game. So, but we know why. We know why. The overall response from the entire game community has been overwhelmingly. It's raining outside and it's all nice and warm in here now. It's just getting me really tired. Overwhelmingly skeptical, and for a good reason. At this rate, one Sweet Baby Inc. aligned company is as good as burnt to a crisp toast done for. The one Sweet Baby Inc. aligned company is as good, yeah. A valuable proposition problem. Whether when gamers support creators on platforms like Patreon, they typically expect some sort of tangible rewards that feel worth the financial commitment. That's kind of the point of Patreon in a nutshell. Will there be people supporting for no reason? Then kind of. Well, I mean, probably, probably, of course. But enough to sustain an entire game studio on promises? No, not at all. Um, all right. This is very different. Add to that, I find their post on Twitter from about a week ago a tad curious. It has 255 hearts, 3 comments. They're either botting for attention or have an audience filled with virtue signalers. Either way, neither financially support them on their journey. From Alex, is that like legitimately how they spell their name? Like, why would you... For instance, and I know this may come across as obvious as well, but I have to say it anyway. Supporting a YouTuber typically comes with a steady stream of content, videos, live streams, and bonus perks like behind the scenes access. Unless you're a loser like me and I don't have any of that. Basically, it's one take. There's no editing, no nothing. What you see is what you get. Bloopers and all. So if I fuck up while talking, well, I guess it's making it in. Uh I'm what people call old school YouTube. I'm just some fat fucking loser who sits in front of a camera and talks about stuff no one cares about. So, like back in the day when we had a lot more time on our hands. Now everything's, you gotta be like, you got your Markipliers and stuff like, oh, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs over something that's not that scary. Oh. You know, I'm not like that. I'm just a fat fucking loser who just sits here and talks in front of a camera about things that no one cares about. All built around the core product, the videos themselves, but with Heart Machine's Patreon, the core product is vague at best. And in a weird way, it ultimately comes across as begging for money to keep their doors open for no other reason than trust us, bro. We're good people that need to survive to make these games. The team promises insights into their development processes, exclusive art assets, and discussion about industry turmoil. But the harsh reality here is that the game takes years to develop, and there is no immediate or even eventual product tied to this financial support. Imagine spending 120 a year as a Seeker tier backer and receiving nothing but concept art, design documents, and prototype gifts in return. Cool, I guess. But honestly, I'm not seeing as much. Okay, whatever. Sweet Baby Inc. and the trust deficit. More like defecate. Adding fuel to the fire in the Heart Machine's original association with Sweet Baby Inc., the consultancy agency infamous for attacking gamers like Cabrutus and trying to get his Steam accounts taken down for daring to create a curation group on Steam covering their controversial DEI consulting. They are the people behind starting Gamergate 2, and as I've covered in a previous video, Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement with pretty much anyone has been a death. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Every time a company works with Sweet Baby Inc., something terrible happens. Every single time. And yet people are like, "Oh, this seems like a reliable company that we can work with. I'm sure nothing terrible will happen, and I'm sure our product will be the best product ever." Death Kits, by prioritizing ideological messaging over gameplay and directly alienating core gaming audiences in the process. For Heart Machine, they're just a heart machine, and it won't pump for nobody but you. And what am I hearing? Is that you, Adam? He's like, yeah, it's just me, Grandpa. I got the sneezies back here. For Heart Machine, their association with Sweet Baby Inc. has led down a road of destruction. It's a lonely road, the only one that they've ever known. Don't know where it goes. Still, it's only them and they walk alone. There are patterns we've been recognizing along the way, and it never seems to have a... Yeah. Everything woke turns to shit. As a great man once said. And for Sweet Baby Inc., yeah, everything they touch. Hang on, I gotta bring it up every time. This super awesome meme was made by me. It's the my germs. So yeah, Sweet Baby Inc. It's the little hand, and modern video games is the delicious pie. And Sweet Baby Inc. can't help but put their grubby little fingers and ruin everything for everyone else. Because that's what it's doing. It's ruining it for everyone else. Sweet Baby Inc. inserts their grubby little fingers in it, and then the pie, which is the gaming industry, it just gets ruined for everyone else. Gamers have grown extremely wary of projects influenced by DEI-driven design, not because they oppose diversity. No, exactly. It's not because we're tired of poorly written diversity. I've said before, if you're black, trans, whatever, just make the character well written. Stop making them stereotypes. Stop making them like their entire personality based on how they identify. That's not a character. But more so because the initiatives feel forced and out of touch with what customers actually want to purchase. As one user said in a reply to Heart Machine, weird flags don't sell, and many gamers see Heart Machine's Patreon experiment as yet another example of its own misguided priorities. Crowdfunding fatigue and the paywall issue. Crowdfunding is long, yep. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Heart Machine's decision to directly rely on Patreon feels like an unnecessary, unwanted evolution of this trend, asking for ongoing financial support without delivering any tangible, immediate rewards. I guess they feel like, oh, well, you support us on Patreon, and that reward will be a good game. But it's like, yeah, when? When's it going to happen, though? Because you're telling us that now, but then, we're sitting around waiting for 5 years or so, and then we still don't get anything. And then, it's possible that, almost a decade goes by, we're supporting you, and then you're like, oh, well, due to an unforeseen situation, we're going to have to close the company down, and all the people who have been backing us for over these years won't be able to get their money back. Sorry. It's like, that's why people, if you're going to have like stuff like that, at least have something for the people. So that way they don't feel like they're donating to you for, like I said, it could be a decade and not get anything in return except for, oh, well, the hope. there's the hope of us getting a really good game. But sometimes it's probably not going to happen like that, though. Probably not going to make it that far. Two of their goals, stated goals, to share more about issues in the industry driving the state of turmoil and to reach a bigger audience with more transparency. Have particularly drawn criticism as well. There's zero logic in placing this kind of information behind a paywall. Yeah, that's... I mean, issues about the industry driving the state of turmoil. I mean, people do that on YouTube all the time for free. Like, we are constantly talking about why this business, these companies are failing. And we do it for free. So, I'm just some fat fuck who lives, a small house in my room, making these videos. So, I'm doing it for free. I don't know why they would, have this kind of stuff behind a paywall. How do you claim you want to educate a broader audience about industry corruption while simultaneously charging for access? It doesn't make any sense. Their hypocrisy with this approach has eroded trust and made it harder for Heart Machine to rally any real support. A history of letdowns. Heart Machine's previous actions haven't done much to inspire confidence either. The Hyperlight Drifter Special Edition, being exclusive to Nintendo Switch, was a slap in the face to early supporters on Steam, the very platform that helped catapult the game. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Yeah, there were a lot of people mad. It's like, oh, I've been supporting this game for this long, and the Switch gets an exclusive, and blah blah blah, and very good platform. For many, it's stuff like this that proves the loyalty to Heart Machine hasn't really been ever reciprocated. Times are tough. Times is hard. Times is hard. Times is tough. Times are tough for everyone. There is an undeniable reality that gamers themselves are feeling a financial pinch in a tough economy as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's why people are not spending that much on stuff like this, or why people are just tired of all the slop coming out, because things are expensive. If we're going to pay $70, $80 of our hard-earned money, we want the game to be, we want it to blow our freaking balls off. We don't want some subpar product that we want to just get through and finish just so we can uninstall it. We want to be able to continue to play it. But these companies aren't doing that. They're creating crap with more crap inserted into it that doesn't need to be there. Terrible stories, terrible characters, glitchy gameplay on release that doesn't seem to get fixed. And even after, for a month or so, people were like, oh, I still can't really complete the game. People coming out in the company like, oh, if you don't like it, don't play it. It's not for you. And it's like, okay, well, then I won't spend $80 of my hard-earned money on your slop game. If you don't like me, I'm not going to... So people are just, thinking more wisely when it comes to buying games. They're not going to support a company that doesn't give a crap about them. Or in this case, it's like, yeah, they had a great game and all that, but it's like you're on Patreon and you're like, oh yeah, support us. It's like, well, what are we getting? You can get our thanks and some cool concept art. It's like, yeah, but what about the game? The game will come out eventually, or maybe not. I don't know. We're just making it. We're just normal men. We're just innocent men. But yeah, people are just. I mean, it's not a good time for the game industry or really Hollywood in general. Anything, TV, video games, movies. People are tired of wasting their hard-earned money on crap. So, arrives at a time when disposable income is a limited source for so many, and the cost of supporting their project just doesn't feel justified. There are countless examples of a single person creating an incredible experience on their own time after their day job by a great idea and pure passion. Five Nights at Freddy's. In the end, it doesn't even matter. The situation feels more unsustainable, more like unsustainable bloat, and I'm not alone. Um, this makes zero sense. Like, what are you talking about? Resources are unavailable. Just make it. You have the software, your power works. People act like they physically are unable to program, draw, or literally do anything else, or literally do anything unless they are being paid for it. Like, if you have a computer and software, just work on it and make it. Like, you're not paying thousands monthly to own the things you have. Stardew is a perfect example. Just work on it. Nobody has to pay you to work on the project. You can still just do stuff. Asking for continuous financial backing during development, especially when the rewards are so frivolous that they feel completely tone deaf. You tone deaf, Bard. To the very real struggles of the core audiences they're appealing to. Nah, this ain't it, fam. Bomb. Did you just make a joke, Bobby? Art Machine's move to Patreon may have been born out of necessity, but it's clear the vast majority of the gaming industry isn't buying it. Between a lack of any real clear value, the ironic paywall for transparency, yeah, that is ironic. The lingering distrust from their past actions, and on top of all of that, the influence of Sweet Baby Inc. The effort is misaligned with the actual wants and needs of their core audience. For a company that once stood as a shining example of indie success, this Patreon directly alienates the very community that helped build their reputation. And it's not the gamers that don't care. Yeah, it's not that gamers don't care. It's the trust, value, and confidence simply aren't there. Yeah, because people aren't going to continue to spend hard-earned money on something that may not actually happen. Like, I don't know what kind of money people think that these companies think that peasants like us have. Or we're not exactly Mr. Moneybanks here, or Moneybags, Mr. ATM, or Mr. Mr. Bank of America. We have very finite budgets. It's like, okay, we've got enough money for this, and this month. So it's just hard, and you coming out, and people wouldn't have a problem supporting if there was more than just, oh yeah, support us and you'll get some concept art. Or but then again, I mean, you have YouTubers who are like, oh yeah, support me on Patreon and you'll get like behind the scenes stuff. So it shows you sitting at your computer editing. Like, okay, cool. um One new comment. They want support, but after the fiasco of the day before, we're not falling for it anymore. Yeah, I mean, actually, was there...
Hi, I'm Alex, and I run Heart Machine, and we're here to talk about the Patreon. So, state of the industry, not great right now. Games are the greatest form of expression that humans have ever created. There's a common saying in development that it's a miracle that any games are made at all, let alone good ones. And now it's even more brutal. Over the past 2 years, the industry has rapidly changed, flipped around, and turned upside down. Funding for new projects is sparse, even for successful developers. Everything is far more expensive to make. Paths we used to be able to take to create projects no longer exist. You've likely heard about this on some front. It's grim. 30% of all game developers have either been laid off or had their roles significantly reduced or affected over the past year alone. Studios have closed, many have left, and we at Heart Machine are not immune to this, having gone through layoffs in November of this year. Since the old models are not enough, we have to adapt. So we're asking for support to help us to continue to not just survive, but to thrive, to help us prototype and build new projects, to help support us when the state of the industry has made it so much harder to exist.
Okay, we get the idea. Again, it's like the people said. It's like, you don't need a huge company. Just make something. You know, you had games like Five Nights at Freddy's, Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight. Small, like, Five Nights at Freddy's was one freaking person. It was Scott Cawthon, and he had his sons beta testing the game. And look what happened. Look how huge that game is now. So you don't need a huge game. You just need passion for it. So you have the software. It's like they said, you have the software. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it for no reward. Just do it because you want to do it, and because you want to create a game that people want. And then when you make that game and people start buying it like crazy, all that hard work will pay off because you'll be rolling in that money. It will become a money-making machine for you. So all that those long hours and that hard work and everything will pay off. So, but what do I know? I'm just some fat fuck nobody online who just has crappy opinions. So what do I know? Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.